Hi, my name is Molamte, and today I want to share with you why and how I did turn down about 60,000 Ghana cedis, which was an amount of money which was going to be paid to me for a job I was recommended for. That was actually an entry level amount I was going to be paid. So in 2016, I was recommended for a job based on the skills I do possess. The job was actually into the tech field, or in the tech space. I was going to be required to do a couple of things which involved actually technology. Now, this was very, very interesting because as of then, I was going to be paid about close to 5,000 Ghana cedis a month with its bonuses at the end of every month. And then, so I was even actually looking at exceeding beyond 5,000 Ghana cedis at the end of the month. I was actually very, very much tempted to take this offer, but before I was able to make or finalize my decision on taking it or not taking it, I had to go through a lot of processes. So first of all, I was required to meet the manager of this organization I'm talking about, and then we had to discuss what the job was going to entail, and then we had to also discuss the salary as of then. Now, that was also a year after I'd started my startup business. So you could just imagine, I actually had an option between choosing to continue my startup or choosing a job which is going to pay me well as of then. And it wasn't just going to pay me well, it was also going to require a lot from me, very, very much from me as of then. So this was the options I had to choose between. So like I said, first of all, I had to meet the manager first to discuss the job, first to discuss the salary as well. So we did discuss the job. I was a bit interested. It was something I would have been able to perform if I'd taken it. And then we came to the salary. So from the starting salary, we started like about 2,500. I was like 2,500 wasn't good. So we kept negotiating, and then we arrived around 4,500 and something. And this was going to come with bonus. So we are looking at about 5,000, even 5,000 plus at the end of the month. So that was the discussion we had, and we actually arrived at something. Now, I had to think about this again before making my final decision on whether taking the job or not taking it. I had to go back home and think through this. Do I want to abandon my startup business or take up this job? It wasn't something I would have been able to combine my startup with, as well as be performing the duties for this job. So I actually had an option. That was one option, either choosing my startup over this job. So what I actually did was, before going to arrive at a decision or a final decision I was going to arrive at, I had to consult a couple of friends to know their thoughts on what they think, and then also some very respectable people I know. So that's what I did, and it took me by surprise that I had about almost 90% of my friends saying, you know what, you just started your business. You're not even sure this is going to thrive, this is going to perform well or not, and this is a very great opportunity which has been presented to you. You know what, I think you should take it. That was what a majority of my friends were saying. I did speak to, like I was saying, a couple of respected people, like people I look up to, and they were also like, you know what, just take this, and if possible you could combine doing with your startup stuff. You cannot do that, but I had to make them know and understand that I wouldn't be able to perform the 2E if I was going to go in for this job. So that was the feedback I got from people. So that was like about 90% of the people I spoke to were like, you know what, take it. And it wasn't really bad, but I had to think through this so much, because I had started my business. I've been able to reach out to a couple of people. I've been able to get feedback from people, and people actually enjoying what I was doing, especially my video tutorials and video courses. And just brush off this just one day, or brush it off aside, and then start taking a job, and then forget about what I've started. This was very, very difficult, and I must confess, this was one of the most confusing moments of my life. I had to think until it came to one particular day. I actually arrived at an answer. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to take this job, irrespective of the amount or everything that I'm going to get from this job. Because I did tell myself, I'm the kind of person I wouldn't like to be restricted in a confined area where I'm expected to be doing this every now and then. That's one of the things I actually hate. So that was part of the reasons that actually motivated me not to take this job offer. So One particular day, after I think through all my decisions and arrive at an answer, I phoned the manager. I was like, you know what, I got a couple of questions for you. What would you do if you've just started a business? It's been a year and you're getting good feedback from people, and now you have this opportunity to take up a job which is going to pay you a good sum of money, and it's all benefits and the rest. He was like, you know what, you're a young guy, you need money. Just take the job, and then you can forget about whatever. I was like, no, this is not going to be a good decision for me. So as of that moment, I told him, you know what, I'm not interested. I'm very, very thankful, or I really appreciate the opportunity you are trying to present me with, but I don't think I'm so much interested in the money as of now. So that was actually my decision. I was surprised I was able to tell him that as of then, but like I said, I had already come up with my decision that I was going to communicate to him at the end of the day. Yes, I know some of you, or a lot of you, have actually faced this, and a lot of you will be facing this as time goes on, whether to choose between your startup business or something else. But trust me, you should have a reason for whatever you started. You should have so much passion. It shouldn't always be about the money, but something should drive you wanting to achieve something much greater than money at the end of the day, and they should keep you in whatever you started. So this is my story. This is a story I'd like to share with a lot more people. So like I said, this was one of the most confusing decisions I had to actually ever make in my life, and I'm very, very glad I made that decision. I didn't take the job, and as of now, a lot of great things have happened, and I would have missed all these great things if I actually took up that job. So that should be it for my startup development tips for today. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.